Good morning, everyone. I'll be talking about the diabetic retinopathy and dry eye association. I have no financial interest. So the increase in diabetic duration is associated with conditions like nephropathy, neuropathy, and retinopathy, which are due to the changes in the microvasculature of the body. Dry eye disease, as we know, is a disorder of the tear film due to the deficiency in tears, the goblet cell loss, squamous metaplasia, excessive evaporation, or reduced corneal sensation, which can cause damage to the ocular surface, resulting in symptoms of ocular discomfort. So we have seen that diabetic patients may exhibit the symptoms of dry eye disease, probably due to neuropathy, metabolic dysfunction, or abnormal lacrimal secretions. Lifestyle changes the change of diet or medications, usage of electronic items like computer or hormonal status may increase the risk for both the diabetes and the dry eye disease. So hence the present study was undertaken to evaluate the stability of the tear film and the condition of the ocular surface in the diabetic patients so that the possible tear film abnormalities can be detected and its association with diabetic retinopathy can be scrutinized. Not able to open. Right. So we included all the patients of type 2 diabetes mellitus patients of all age groups, and we excluded those with systemic disorders and local ocular diseases as well, which were known to cause dry eye diseases, those who had chronic contact lens wearers for more than 2 years, those who had LASIK surgeries, those who had local or systemic medications which are known to cause dry eyes, those who had any connective tissue disorders, those who smoked, those who had Parkinson's disease, vitamin deficiency, or pregnant women were all excluded. So this was a cross-section study done over a period of 6 months at a University Teaching Hospital in Chennai, where we recruited 100 patients with type 2 diabetes mellitus. Informed consent was taken from all the patients, and data also was collected from all the patients along with the history. Details like HbA1c, FPS, PPS were also recorded. Scoring also was taken along with it, and a detailed examination of the ocular surface was done, including the visual acuity with Seller's chart, dry eye examination using TBAT and Schirmer's, intraocular pressure recorded with Goldman's affiliation tonometry, and retinal status also was evaluated by the indirect ophthalmoscopy after dilation with tropamide drugs. So the results we saw was the mean age of the patients which were enrolled was about 55 years of age, minimum being 29 and maximum being 73, and 44 patients were males while 56 were females. The mean duration of diabetes mellitus also was found to be 11.614 years. 54 patients showed the evidence of diabetic retinopathy, of which 18 were mild, 30 patients had moderate NPDR, 6 had severe NPDR, and none had any PDR. In terms of Schirmer's test, of the 100 patients studied, 46 were found to have dry eye based on Schirmer's. So 64.8% patients had Schirmer's value less than 10% in patients with diabetic retinopathy, while those without diabetic retinopathy had Schirmer's value less than 10 millimeters. So therefore, it was found that the patients with diabetic retinopathy had 2.98 times more chance of having Schirmer's value less than 10 than those without diabetic retinopathy. Similarly, for TBAT as well, 78% of patients with diabetic retinopathy were found to have TBAT less than 10, while 11 patients with without the diabetic retinopathy were found to have TBAT less than 10. So it is concluded that we had 7.09 times more chance of having TBAT of less than 10 seconds in those patients with diabetic retinopathy as against those without. We also studied the OSDI scoring and the presence of various symptoms of dry eye disease, and it was found that sensitivity to light was the most common reported symptom, and sensitivity to air conditioning was the least reported symptom. There was a high statistical significance seen between the clinical dry eye test done by Schirmer's, TBAT, and OSDI scoring on the questionnaire. We also found a high significance between the severity of dry eye disease and the severity of diabetic retinopathy, and over here we can see that the patients who had no diabetic retinopathy were found in the normal spectrum, while those with the severe dry eye were found to be associated with the severity in the diabetic retinopathy status. Similarly, a duration of diabetic mellitus did show a high statistical significance with the increasing the diabetic status. Over here, less than 1 year of duration of diabetes was seen in the normal spectrum, while those who were about 20 years was seen in increasing significance in the severe diabetic retinopathy status. Even with regard to HbA1c values, we found that there was a significant statistical correlation seen between the increasing dry eye status and the increasing in the HbA1c levels. So as a discussion, our findings also correlated with the study done by CFAR, who showed that 52% of his patients were complaining of dry eye disease. Ours also did, and we can probably explain it by the low production of TSC in the diabetic patients due to the dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system, and also the fact that we stay in a tropical area, and the dry climate of our region may also be a reason for the high prevalence of dry eye disease. Dogru and all also studied about the TBAT and Sherman's values being significantly lower in the diabetic patients, especially in those with peripheral neuropathy and poor metabolic control. Our findings also were consistent with Zhang and Buddha, who reported a significant association between the duration of diabetes and the prevalence of dry eye disease, which suggested that as the duration increased, the prevalence of dry eye also increased. And many studies also supported the significant correlation between the dry eye disease and stage of diabetic retinopathy, which is also seen in Ostermeyer and all, where he found that the deterioration of tear film status was also associated with the severity of diabetic retinopathy. Studies by Sheikh and Najafi also mentioned about the H1A1C values being possibly correlating with the presence of dry eye disease, and they strongly suggested that the frequent surveillance of diabetic patients and good control over the
time is up.
necessary factors were needed for the dry eye disease. So as a conclusion, diabetes can lead to ocular surface diseases, and diabetic status was important in a routine clinic as well.
All right, thank you, doctor. Panelists, if you have any questions, you may go ahead.
May I ask, please? If there's no other panelists, then I'll ask.
No, you may just go ahead. We have 2 minutes for the questions, so you can just directly unmute yourself and shoot the question. Thank you.
Doctor, thank you for your presentation, and it's a very important disease. Tell me, what is new in your study? That's the first question. And second is, if in these patients, when would you start like to put lubricant? Would you like to put lubricating drops? And when and which one?
Thank you, ma'am, for your questions. For the first answer, it is important to evaluate about the dry eye disease because it is very prevalent, diabetes being an important part in the Indian spectrum as well.
No, ma'am, I'll stop you so that I want to know what is new about your study. You've already quoted so many studies telling us that, this is a norm, this is something that we all have learned since our MBBS or let's say postgraduate days. But what is new in your study?
So these studies were done in the international spectrum, not much in the Indian scenario. So in the Indian scenario, since the diabetes is a huge factor in the Indian population, given the obesity and the lifestyle changes, it was imperative to start the studies now and make aware of the changes that are happening in the Indian population.
Good. As well. So this study is the only one in India?
In India, it is. In Chennai, yes. Yes. Good. So we started in South India. This is a study done in Chennai. That is one. And to answer your second question, ma'am, so I would start the lubricant drops way earlier, ma'am, because we don't want to start lubrications once the disease has developed. It is always better to start before something happens, and that is the funda. So even when a patient has come diagnosed with diabetes mellitus with no retinopathy status, it is imperative to start treatment because of the studies that is shown right now. There is an increasing chance of dry eye disease as we go further into the duration of the diabetes mellitus. Even 20 years from now, they are going to get symptoms of dry eye disease. So why not start now before they?
Thank you. Very nice.